Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gabon 24 and this special edition focused on the third edition of the African Climate Week. After the opening ceremony yesterday, this manifestation, this great conference continues today, and I do receive on the set Mr. Elbusaidy Swaleh, and with him we're going to discuss related issues on climate change and environmental issues in his country, which is Kenya. Welcome, Mr.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. Gabon has been good to me.
Okay, thank
yes.
you. And this is the third edition of the African Climate Week. It means that we're tackling issues related to environment. And how does climate change, global warming, affect your country, Kenya?
Okay, I would first start with, there are various environmental issues back home, back in my country. But I will start with the most severe ones, the most serious ones that we are currently facing. As we are speaking, Kenya is faced with drought, a long spell of drought. What does this narrate to? What does this mean? Most of Kenyan people are farmers. Some are pastoralists. Some live by river basins and lake basins. So with this drought, in Mandera, northeastern parts of Kenya, they're pastoralists. They've seen many of their livestock die. In coast, where I come from, we have farmers. They have seen a decrease in their yield. They've seen a decrease in production, in farm produce.
Agricultural
production, yes, because no rains. We have communities where I come from that live by rivers and lakes, lake basins, which are seasonal. Now we've seen these communities being displaced in search for water, in search for better pastoral lands. We have a recent case in where I come from, where pastoralists moved into somebody's farm to feed their animals and attacked the owners of that farm. So these are some of the effects, environmental effects that are causing. There's also human-wildlife conflict. Where I come from, we have wild animals coming all the way from the forests to towns to look for drinking water, to search for water. So drought is a big problem in Kenya at the moment.
Very, very critical issue.
Very critical issue.
And what is the government, what are the authorities doing to try to face up this critical situation? Because when people are no more able to farm and to produce, life is in danger.
Yes. So this is where all these talks and narratives come about. What do we want to do? Do we want to mitigate, to address the issue after the fact? Or do we want to adapt, to prepare ourselves so that this drought doesn't affect us in the future? My country is working on both levels. First, it's working on mitigation by, it has come down to the grassroots communities, the affected grassroots communities, with food relief programs, with water relief programs. We see some organizations sponsored by the government that come give shelter to some of these pastoralist communities that move long distances. So these are the other issues, mitigative measures that to address after the fact. But we have adaptative measures too. I will start with the Constitution, our own Constitution. The Constitution of Kenya, Article 69. It states that about 10% of the country should be filled with forest cover, that the country should work towards attaining forest cover 10% of the landmass. And our president recently said that we are at 7%. So the progress is good. We are getting there. This is the Constitution first. And Article 70 goes on and says that any infringement to environmental rights or wrongs to environmental rights or a threat to an environmental right, even if something is yet to happen, then you can go address your issues in court. This is the Constitution first. Then we have other acts that will come to. We have the NDCs. The NDCs, these are nationally determined contributions. Yeah, that all countries, many countries agreed to make for addressing climate change. Kenya was amongst the first countries to draw an NDC in 2016. That amongst the many issues they addressed in this NDC, they advocated for a 30% reduction in emissions. This was in 2016. It was recently updated in 2020. And now they say we want the emissions to cut down emissions at 32%.
Yes.
So 2% increment.
Okay, this strategy we're talking about, and this is very important. But do you think that young people are fully committed in this strategy as when we talk about reducing greenhouse house emission?
In fact, as the recent 2 or 3 years have shown, since COP26, there's been a massive push by young people, by youth, to have a major role, a key role, to have a bigger say in these climate change negotiations and climate change talks. And in Kenya, it is now the youth that are taking over the climate narrative.
Without cutting you, what kind of projects do they put on the table? What kind of project do they develop there?
I am getting there. In Kenya, we have youths that have come together to form the Youth for Nature. What they're doing is they're planting trees all over the country.
A kind of reforestation.
Yes, reforestation. We have a restoration program where they are going to already degraded lands, places that have been affected, environmentally affected, and they try to restore these places to its original glory by planting trees, making it environmental friendly. We have youths that are dealing with carbon credits now. We have the big ship in Chuda Creek in Mombasa, Coast Province, that is there to deal with carbon credits and capturing of okay, they are experts to this, but I'm telling you about what the youth are doing. So these are some of the 3 major issues that the youth are doing. And just recently, we have a Nairobi summer school in Kenya that teaches about climate change, bringing people from all over the world of different backgrounds and religions and everything, ethnicities, that initiated the Climate Justice Torch.
Yes.
Which is an initiative by the youth, started from, which was born in Kenya and will go all over the world. This was launched here in Gabon.
Yes.
Next it will go to Senegal by the youth. The youth are carrying this. From Senegal, it will move to Kenya.
Very beautiful, because we know that when young people are fully committed in a project, we're going to have good results in the end. But now, how does your country, Kenya, collaborate with regional and international institutions in order to finance the project that is against global warming?
Okay. So how Kenya is managing partnerships?
Yes.
Before I say that, I would like to note something very interesting about Kenya, which is a very good example. The first NDC, Kenya pushed it and implemented it without climate funds from outside itself. So this just shows that Africa can lead in climate adaptation and climate finances. Anyway, Kenya gets into partnership with other states, such as the European Union, international NGOs, such as Oxfam, Greenpeace Africa, national NGOs, so we have the Kenya Platform for Climate Governance, and we have the grassroots CSOs. So Kenya gets into all these bilateral agreements with at different levels to garner support, garner resources. So bringing finances for adaptation, for mitigation, not only finances, technology, research, experts.
Okay, as you mentioned technology and research, is Kenya also focused on energy transition?
Yes. In fact, Kenya just recently, the National Environmental Tribunal revoked a license that allowed a coal plant to be constructed in Kenya. It revoked this, and this was by CSOs. And they were saying this because we need a just energy transition.
For sure.
We said coal is old news. We need renewable energy, especially with the fact that 60% of energy produced in Kenya right now is from renewable sources, renewable energy resources.
Okay, very good. But my last question is going to be the following one. Is Kenya admiring countries such as Gabon today, which is positive in carbon, because Gabon is making a huge contribution in keeping the planet safe?
Of course, Kenya is not only admiring Gabon, Kenya is admiring every single state in Africa. In fact, the message we come with during this convention is one Africa, one voice.
Yes.
We need one message.
Because we're going to COP27
Yes,
in Egypt.
we're going to COP27. So once we go there, this is known as the implementation COP. So what we are saying is, let's move away from conversations. Let's go to implementation. Let's start talking about these pledges. Let's start talking about these commitments. Please, guys, let's act. So this is in an attempt for all of us to go with a single message. What do we want?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Swaleh. I think that your voice, the voice of Kenya, is going to be heard at the very end of this African Climate Week.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for the opportunity to bring the voice of Kenya in Gabon.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of this special program. You can keep following us on our social on Gabon 24. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.